In the morning, we go to Rudniy, a city about 50 kilometers from Kostanay. Rudniy greets us with the political slogans. The city has a new Russian Orthodox cathedral. It's famous for its fresco with the mayor painted in the crowd which meets Christ. We learn the story from the journalists of the local newspaper «Хорошее дело», which means the good business in English, Sergei Petrenko and Irina Starikova.
The motto of our newspaper speaks for itself. The life of the town is in our hands. I was born here. I'm a native citizen. The town is pretty young. It was built to serve the needs of the mining and processing plant. Like many small towns where the economy is so tightly connected with just one enterprise, when troubles come to the company, they come to the whole town. In 1990s, many people left the town. Many specialists left. The plant was upside down. Salaries were delayed or paid with pasta and china. The plant didn't work and there was no life in the town. People left in large numbers. In the 1990s, one could buy a two-bedroom apartment for the price of a TV. Those who had money bought apartments. In the late 1990s, I tried to move to Russia, to Staraya Skol. They told me there, we've got enough our own homeless. When you get enough money to buy an apartment here, you're welcome. But we don't need you here otherwise. How does the language law work here? What can you do in Russian? What can you do without translation into Kazakh? What do you need to translate? The law exists, but it doesn't affect our newspaper, because we were registered as Russian language media. So we don't have problems with that. But it's a strict law for the radio stations.
I know for sure that the editor forms a playlist according to the language of a song. They sign contracts with Kazakh production companies in Astana to broadcast local music. I work in the news department, but I know things about the music side too. We make reports. The news and commercials are aired in both Russian and Kazakh. All serious advertisers want to have their ads translated into the Kazakh language.
Who reads the news in the Kazakh language at your radio station?
We have a speaker translator. It's an official job title here. She comes in the evening, a part-time job. She has a job in another media house with a Kazakh desk. We don't have a Kazakh desk here. She just comes and translates the news we have that day. The news in Kazakh goes out on air a bit later.
Do you know Kazakh, by the way?
Well, just the spoken language. We don't really have any practice, and in fact, I don't really need the Kazakh language.
There is a great influx of so-called Oralmans, immigrants from China and Uzbekistan. They speak a different Kazakh language. Even ethnic Kazakhs from different parts of these countries often misunderstand each other. There are differences in local dialects and even in definitions of the words. This makes learning the language really difficult.
We have a language center in the Akimat, city administration. One can learn Kazakh and English as far as I know. Everybody who really wants to learn the language can do that and get a certificate after completing the course. And in fact, it's very popular among civil servants, teachers, doctors, and young people who want to get promoted. We had a case here. We had a girl working at the radio. Her pronunciation in Kazakh was bad. We received complaints from native speakers. After that, she was offered the chance to take the language course absolutely free. We have 20 schools here, only 3 of them are Kazakh, the rest are Russian. But there are Kazakh classes in Russian schools too. One of the schools has a group of Russian kids who study in Kazakh from the very first day. These are the kids from a local orphanage.
Do they follow Russian events here in Rudniy? Do they watch Russian TV? Absolutely. I'll tell you even more. Our national Kazakh TV production is far from being perfect. So we compensate that by watching Russian TV. 80% of our cable TV content is Russian. People with democratic views have often criticized that. They say it's brainwashing and Russian political propaganda. I guess that a clever man can always check the information in other media or on the internet and draw his own conclusions.
All my relatives come from Vinnytsk region, western Ukraine. I have to tell you, I just don't discuss latest events with them. Once I tried to do that, and they cursed me in every way possible. They accused me of being pro-Putin. I was excluded from the family. Now we communicate fine, more or less. They had a new baby, and I'm trying to get the relationship back on track. We don't discuss politics at all after that. It's for sure a hot topic. People follow this news, discuss it online. You only had to touch on a Ukrainian theme and they would run in and have a row. The basic argument goes like this. You're safe and sound there in Kazakhstan, a sleepy backwater, so don't blather.
Thanks God my relatives are in East Ukraine, not West. Donetsk, Odessa, Kharkov, Kiev. I've almost lost connections with them because of disagreements over the events in Ukraine and Central Asia. The legislation in Kazakhstan in recent years was toughened up. I mean, I don't see a massive application of the new articles of the criminal code. But you're liable even for just making a comment on your web page. If the right guys see sedition in your comments, you could be charged for that. And there is no clear understanding what constitutes sedition. Does it make your work in the newspaper more difficult? Publishing a newspaper in this regard is quite difficult. Our advantage is that we don't go into politics. We ignore all those global issues. We are interested in the communal and social problems of our town and its citizens. What country do you cheer for at the Olympics?
For Russia, we love figure skating. We have a new figure skater, Dennis 10.
Oh, I know him.
We cheered for him because it's clear that this might have a good result for us. Even the third place is great. Boxing. Ivan Dichko, the boxer, was born near Rudniy and then moved to our town. In London, he won a bronze medal in the heavyweight division.
For Kazakhstan?
Sure. Yesterday we watched Youth World Championship in hockey.
Semi-final with the USA. Today we'll watch the final with Finland.
If there are no local games without Kazakh teams, we watch all the big games. So we cheer for Russia. When I was a student in Kostanay, there was a rumor that Vladimir Putin was coming to the city. He was prime minister at that time, at the period when they changed places. I didn't like the social life much, but I was trying to get to the front page. I made a banner. We were waiting for him, and he did not come. And then I realized I could have gone to Chelyabinsk to see him, you know, like people do to see a rock star. I like him as a man. I don't know why. He gives a sense of confidence. They may accuse him of snubbing his people, of showing off in the international affairs. I think it's all wrong. Such people, I mean, all of us, we need to be snubbed. Too much freedom can ruin the whole system. It's a tough thing to rule a huge country. Kazakhstan is a big country compared to Latvia, for example. And Russia is just a vast expanse of land. I may say I'm proud of Vladimir Putin, but our president Nazarbayev is no worse because Putin respects him.
I asked Irina and Sergei to acquaint us with some examples of penetration of the two cultures. They advise us to go over the music college. We get there the next morning. College students are performing the music of Kazakh composers on traditional folk instruments, the dombra and the kabys. At the reception desk, we meet the interpreter, who works part-time at the college. He turns out to be an oral man, a Kazakh migrant from China, Uzbekistan or Mongolia.
In early 1990s, I read an article in a newspaper where the president of Kazakhstan addressed himself to ethnic Kazakhs living abroad. He invited all those who wanted to move to the historical homeland, and I took advantage of this invitation.
Translators are often found in the state institutions of Kazakhstan. They translate documents from the Kazakh language into the Russian and back because not all civil servants speak the language fluently, and all official documentation is in the Kazakh language.